Zometeen gaan jullie een interview zien met Anthony Birch, schrijver bij Gearbox. We hadden op Gamescom een mooie intro opgenomen, maar de wonderen der techniek hebben niet zo goed gewerkt. Dus vandaar dit geïmproviseerd filmpje. Veel plezier alvast. Anthony, Borderlands 2. Borderlands 1 was a great success. What's new in Borderlands 2?
Everything. Basically, we took all the the first game had a Guinness World Record for most guns in a video game ever. We took all that and then redid it and made more guns. So now every gun you pick up feels different. They have different firing modes and all that kind of stuff. We have a much bigger story, much bigger script. The script is about 5 times bigger than the first game's script. We have environments that are not just like dirt and dust. We have grass and snow and awesome cities and all that kind of stuff. We have new character classes. Each of them have about 30% more skills than in the first game. We have way more enemies. Like I think it was around 300% more enemies from the second game to the first game. So yes, anything you liked in the first game, there's like 10 times more of it. Anything you didn't like is not around anymore.
A lot of people found the story from Borderlands 1 kind of weak. There wasn't a lot of story, not a lot of characters in it. You changed that with someone like Handsome Jack.
Right, yeah. Like I said, the script is like 5 times bigger than the first game's script. There's just a lot more story going on. You know, in the first game, there was story there, but a lot of it was in your mission log. You had to sort of just read the story that way. This time around, we have a bunch of characters that you interact with, that meet you, that are constantly talking to you during missions, interacting with you during missions, fighting alongside you sometimes. The idea, the hope is that as you're going through the game, you just can't help but get sort of swept up in the story because it's everywhere around you. It's in the level design, it's in, you're going on missions and Handsome Jack is talking about what a jerk you are and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, we wanted to make sure that if you just care about the gameplay, then the story is never going to get in your way. We're not going to make you sit through 90-minute long cutscenes or anything like that. It is a game first and foremost, but there's also just a lot more story there if you want it.
I saw the game at E3. Did some things change since then, or is it something you could say more than you couldn't say back then?
I mean, we're just showing off a lot more stuff that we've always had in the pipe, and we've always been tightening and polishing the stuff that we had there or weren't ready to show yet or anything like that. So like we're showing off Terramorphous the Invincible at Gamescom, our raid boss, our end game boss, and he's just stupidly difficult. Like he's the raid boss for the guy who's gotten to the max level and wants to find something, the new challenge, with his friends. And so you want to get 3 other friends together and you want to spec very specifically for getting the best gear and making sure that your skills work with the gear and really trying to find a way to kill him because he drops some unique legendary loot that only he drops and stuff like that. So we're showing him off. We showed off some of the top tier skills, like Maya's got a skill called Thought Lock that actually hypnotizes her enemies now instead of just phase locking them. They get hypnotized and that's really cool. And gosh, what else? The Soldier's Nuke, we've been showing that off. It's just incredibly violent. It's what you would assume it is. But yeah.
You recently announced the girlfriend mode. Can you tell us a little bit more about that one?
Well, it's actually we're calling it Best Friends Forever mode for the Necromancer character, and her tree, the Best Friends Forever mode, is for basically if you're not the greatest FPS player in the world, if you're new to them, for example, we have a lot of skills in there that are sort of help you out. So she has a skill called Close Enough that if you miss a shot, the bullet will ricochet and hit the enemy anyway and do a little bit less damage. So if you're not great at aiming in FPS games, you can also use that skill. Or if you're actually a hardcore FPS player, you can use that as a way of flushing enemies out of cover. They'll get behind something and you'll be like, and just shoot next to them and it'll bing and hit them and get them out of cover that way. And she's actually a really cool character because she's got the Best Friends Forever tree, which is sort of more casual tree, and then she's got this other tree we're not talking about just yet, but it's actually super hardcore, and she's actually got a lot of different facets to her character.
Did you change the name because of the reactions to it, or was it always called Best Friends Forever?
It was always called Best Friends Forever. It was, yeah.
Were you surprised about the way people reacted?
Well, I think that the assumption was that it was like we were making a grand statement about gender, but it was really like John Hemingway was telling a person, the designer who made the Necromancer, he was telling a personal anecdote about where it came from, which is he was playing the game with his girlfriend at the time, and she wasn't the greatest shooter player, and he's like, oh, it would be great to make a character for her, and if he had been dating a guy, it would have been called boyfriend mode. If he'd been, playing with his dad, it would have been called dad mode. He was just saying sort of off the cuff something, and it, but yeah.
But it's not a system that would give a player a big advantage, just something you can use in different situations.
Exactly, and if you're spending skill points on that, you're not spending skill points on other stuff. Like any character in the game, there's a give and take between what skills you want to invest in, and that one, it's really good for if you're not great at aiming, but it also, you're taking a hit to the amount of damage you do with your ricocheted shot, so you might want to be investing in other skill trees that actually give you a lot more damage for other kind of kooky things that we'll be talking about later.
Jullie hebben nu het interview bekeken. We hebben er één belangrijk punt uit geleerd, en dat is dat de girlfriend mode helemaal niet de girlfriend mode heet, maar wel de Best Friends Forever mode. ja, zo leer je nog maar eens dat je niet alles moet geloven wat er op het internet wordt gezegd. En dat de hele hetze rondom de Best Friends Forever mode dan uiteindelijk een grote storm in een glas water is geweest.